I don't think you're ready for today's cozy news because honestly, it's pretty wild. So it's time to buckle on up because we have Fae Farm news, the news about Roots of Pacha being removed from Steam. We also have a game that has finally filled my Animal Crossing void, and of course, brand new game announcements as well. We've got all that and more in today's video, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss out, and let's get on with it. First, let's talk about Fae Farm. Now, if you somehow know nothing about Fae Farm, it is easily the farming sim and one of the games I am the most excited about in 2023. It's basically a farming sim, but the big difference is that you are a fairy. So it has all of your typical farming sim mechanics, but taking place in a magical world. Now, honestly, anything Fae Farm does will make my cozy gaming news at this point because I am that excited about the game. But on Twitter this week, they've given us a little bit of a snippet about what it's going to be like to care for animals in the game. First of all, the chickens are absolutely adorable, but we can also see sheep and also cows as well. But the real interesting thing about this is there appears to be a leveling system in Fae Farm. You can see a really small glimpse for when a level pops up on the screen. And honestly, I am such a sucker for a leveling system in these types of games. We've also had a few screenshots of what the other animals in the game are going to look like. And just today, they introduced us to what they call wisps. And there look to be lots of different types, and I have no idea what you do with them, but they look so cute, and I really hope we can keep them as pets. And the only thing that's missing for me right now is a release date. Then, just earlier today, we got news that the Wholesome Direct is going to be on June 10th at 12 PM Eastern. This is a direct that focuses on cozy and uplifting games, and this year it's going to be over an hour long with over 70 indies to showcase. And although not all of them are typically on the Nintendo Switch, a large amount normally are. So I can't wait to see what's in store for this year's direct. Then let's talk about Go-Go Town, because even though it's not due to release till 2024, it has already become one of my most anticipated games to come to the Nintendo Switch. Now, they recently just closed the access to their demo, which allowed you to play a surprising amount of the game, even though it's pretty early on in the development process. It's been a long time since there was a game that made me feel the same way Animal Crossing did. And I genuinely mean it when I say Go-Go Town gave me that same beautiful feeling that early Animal Crossing did. Now, it's kind of weird for me to kind of say that it's similar to Animal Crossing because it's not in most aspects. I think the only aspect it really crosses over with Animal Crossing is the decorating side of things. But in Go-Go Town, you are a mayor, and it's up to you to run every single part of this entire town. Not only do you decide where to put the shops, you decide who works in the shops, you supply the shops with all the materials they need to do their jobs, and then it's up to you to hire workers to supply that shop with the materials they need. In the demo alone, you could manage the mines, you also manage people who foraged for materials, then there were also people farming and fishing as well to get food for the restaurants. Now, although this wasn't in the demo, it also looks as though you're going to have to try and convince visitors to want to live and stay in your town as well in order to get enough workers to do the jobs you need them to do. A batch of tourists have come into your town and are going to walk around and have a look at everything you have to see. Now, it's worth mentioning that when I said this was an alpha test, I really did mean it. This is very, very early on in the game process. And although it was incredibly limiting in that you only had a really small town to kind of deal with, and there were areas that were cordoned off that you couldn't even go to, but despite all of that, I had hours worth of fun. The thing that's got me the most excited though is seeing how they could expand upon each and every one of the ideas they presented. Like the supply chains could get even more complex and leave even more to be managed. We can have more variety in the buildings that we could build. And although the demo was really centered on the shops, I can't wait to see what else they introduce to make it into more of a tourist destination, and also the different ways you can decorate as well. Even in the demo, they'd already thought of everything. Like, for example, there was a ton of litter on the floor, so you had to go and place bins all around the town. But then the bins would get full, so you'd have to go and hire garbage collectors and build a place for them to go and throw the garbage into. The thing that makes this special is, yes, it's a management style game, but at no point did I feel stressed out, which is rare. I tend to get overwhelmed pretty easily, but this somehow had so much going on, but because there were no negative consequences to you not doing things in time, it was totally chill and such an enjoyable experience. I really cannot wait to follow the development of this game. I am so excited to see what it turns into, and genuinely one of my most anticipated games, even though it's not coming out till 2024. And then we have the news that Roots of Pacha is no longer available for purchase. Yeah, you heard that right. Roots of Pacha has been removed from Steam in what looks to be a dispute between the developers and the publishers over the rights to the game. Now, you might not know anything about this if you aren't on Twitter, as it's only really been announced there and also their Discord channel. But essentially, Roots of Pacha, aka one of my favorite farming sims of all time, that was not only destined to have a ton more updates thanks to its successful Kickstarter, but was also due to come to the Nintendo Switch in just a few months, has been removed from purchase on Steam. That's because of Valve's policy saying that if there's an active dispute between any parties to do with the game, it will be removed from the page. Now, there's absolutely no point speculating about the situation whatsoever. We don't know the whole picture, and I don't know if we ever will know the whole picture, but what we will talk about is what that means for us, the players of the game. So if you haven't managed to purchase the game yet, you won't be able to do so through Steam until this whole situation has been sorted. Now, both parties are saying that they're working to resolve this situation as quickly as possible, but obviously we don't actually know how long that's going to take. If you have already bought the game, then you'll be glad to know that you can still play it. And you'll also be able to do any of the updates that you're behind on. Now, in the statement that Roots of Pacha issued, they did say that they will continue development of Roots of Pacha with the same energy we've always put into it. And they also mentioned how they're working on giving us a roadmap for the updates in the next month or so. So thankfully, this makes it sound as though the development of the game itself won't be impacted by the issues that we're facing at the moment. The only thing I'm not too sure about at this point is what it means in terms of its console ports. So I guess we just have to wait and see from the roadmap if it's still going ahead according to plan or if it's been delayed to a future date. But hopefully they'll give out a further statement regarding this, especially for those of you who backed on the Kickstarter. Either way, I hope this is resolved quickly because it's such a shame to see such a great game pulled away from Steam. And then let's talk about Dordogne. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I slightly forgot about this game. So when I saw it pop up on Twitter saying it was going to release in June, I got so unbelievably excited. This is a truly quintessentially cozy game, as it's a narrative adventure game set in the beautiful watercolor environments of Dordogne. In this, you play as Mimi, who after a breakup and being let go of her job, learns the heartbreaking news that her grandmother has passed away. She then decides to ditch the city life entirely to spend time back at her late grandmother's home, a place that meant so much to her when she was growing up. All throughout the game, you'll be exploring the recollections of her childhood and the time she shared with her grandmother, as Mimi confronts her adult choices with memories to uncover family secrets. I feel like this is truly a cozy game unlike anything we've seen before on the Switch, and if the voice acting from the most recent trailer is anything to go by, we're in for such a cozy experience that will most likely end up with me crying. Speaking of games I've only just found out about, we also have Moonlight Peaks. Now, unfortunately, it does look like it's going to be a while before we see this, and likely even longer before it comes to the Switch. But I wanted to point it out as it's yet another really unique take on a farming sim, and I love the fact that we're getting such a variety in this genre now. Moonlight Peaks is a heartwarming life sim where you get to experience life as a vampire, where you set out to prove your skeptical father, Count Dracula, that a life of compassion is in fact possible. And yes, you can date other villagers in this, and the villagers will be anything from werewolves, witches, and even mermaids. And the thing I love about this is although it does have a lot of the classic farming sim mechanics, Even the crops are cursed, because as a non-practicing vampire, this will be your main source of food. There looks to be a ton to do as well, with cute little mini games, and also the entire world to go and explore. This truly looks like no other farming sim I have ever seen, and I'm really excited to see how the development goes and what this turns into. And finally, today we got news that Disney Dreamlight Valley is once again doing Twitch Drops. It starts on Friday the 19th and runs for the entire week. And all you need to do is come and watch my Twitch stream and you'll get the items. That's everything for the cozy game news for today. And if you want to see the cozy games I'm enjoying the most at the moment, click this video here.